All right, so finally, part 4 of the birth terms explained. I didn't realize how many I have. Oh my God, there's a lot of videos for birth terms, but here it goes. All right, starting off with a fun one, ring of fire. So this super comforting term is used to describe the burning sensation that some, not all, some women feel as baby's head is crowning during delivery. When the labia and the perineum is like stretched to capacity. If you have an epidural, you likely won't feel much more than pressure when baby's head is crowning. But women having an unmedicated birth might not feel it either. I know I didn't feel it because a lot of times the baby's head pressing on nerves actually blocks them and causes this numbing sensation. All that pressure can actually make you numb. So while the pushing my baby out was incredibly exhausting, it was a lot more comfortable than active labor. Okay, rupturing of membranes. So this is just another term for your water breaking, which consists of the amniotic sac rupturing and the fluid draining out. While movies often depict this as this like huge gush that happens before any other signs of labor show up, while a woman is standing in a restaurant, usually a fancy one, this is not usually how it happens in real life. It can happen naturally. Sometimes it does happen before you're well into labor. A lot of times it doesn't happen till you're in active labor, transition. Sometimes it doesn't happen at all and the baby is born in call or in the sac. Sometimes to speed up labor, the care provider will rupture the membranes for you. After this happens, after the membranes rupture, contractions usually become a lot stronger because you don't have that cushion between baby and the uterus and everything becomes more intense. Okay, transition. So this is the last and often most intense part of active labor. This is when you dilate to 10 centimeters. It's usually a pretty short part of labor and it consists of incredibly strong contractions that usually last between 60 to 90 seconds. During transition, it's pretty common to experience some spotting, some bleeding, you might have a bit of a bowel movement, you might throw up, all normal. And one of the most common indicators that you're moving through transition is that feeling that like, oh my God, I can't do this anymore, I give up, or I need the epidural. And that's really exciting because it means that you are nearing the end. So if you feel that, yay, you're almost done. Okay, transverse. So this is when a baby is laying sideways in the womb instead of head down. Most babies will transition out of transverse into head down, but if they don't, by around 36 weeks gestation, your care provider might recommend an ECV, which is when they like manually try to turn baby into the head down position. Umbilical cord. So this is the cord that goes from the placenta into baby's belly button and it transports blood, oxygen, nutrients, and hormones into the baby. This is essentially their lifeline. Okay, a VBAC. So this stands for vaginal birth after cesarean, meaning that you've had at least one baby via C-section, but you're wanting to have a subsequent baby vaginally. And luckily, more and more care providers are supporting VBACs for women that are having a healthy pregnancy. Okay, Vernix. So this is a waxy white cottage cheese-like coating on baby's skin that protects them from like pruning effects from amniotic fluid. And when the baby swallows it in utero, it could help develop the baby's gut bacteria. It also serves as a lubricant during birth, yay. It could protect baby from bacterial infections after birth, and it could help heal vaginal tears when the vaginal opening is exposed to the vernix when baby's coming out. So because of the post-birth benefits that the vernix on baby's skin has, the World Health Organization recommends waiting 6 hours before wiping it off baby's skin. So if you want to maximize those benefits, I would definitely recommend writing in your birth preferences that you do not want baby wiped off until 6 hours after birth. So usually by that point, the Vernix has for the most part rubbed into their skin, but especially in the hospital, it is so common for the care providers to immediately wipe baby off. So remind them after birth that you want to leave that Vernix on if that is something that you want. Okay, Vertex. So this is when the baby is in the head down position, the ideal position for vaginal birth. Walking epidural. So this is also called a combined spinal epidural. And this is an epidural that typically allows for more movement than the standard epidural, as it usually consists of a lower dose of medication. So while a woman can't actually walk with a walking epidural, she can usually get into a variety of positions to facilitate birth. For example, I was with one woman that had a walking epidural, and she was able to get into the squatting position with a bar on the bed that she would hold on to during contractions to push her baby out, and she could feel a little bit. I mean, it seemed like this perfect combination. She was, for the most part, numb, but could still feel enough to kind of know where to push. She could get to the squatting position. Unfortunately, a lot of hospitals don't offer walking epidurals, but speak to your care provider if that's something you're interested in, because maybe they can make it happen for you. Okay, water birth, laboring in warm water. This can really promote relaxation. It can relax the muscles. It can create more effective contractions. It can create enhanced flexibility in the perineum, which is always good, and it can lower blood pressure. While some women choose to stay submerged for delivery, and are often allowed to do this if you're doing a home birth or in your birth center, most hospitals will require you to get out of the water before you actually deliver. And some people get nervous thinking, like, well, baby inhale the water. But the cool thing is baby won't actually take their first breath until their face is exposed to the air. So sometimes during a water birth, when the baby's delivered in the water, they'll even hold the baby in the water for a few seconds before lifting them up to create a more gentle transition into the world. So if you're interested in a water birth, I would recommend doing some research and figuring out if the hospital you want to deliver in has tubs, or considering a home birth or a birth center birth. We made it to the end! Yay! Those are all the birth terms. This was part 4. So if you want to watch all of them, go back on this channel to part 1, 2, and 3. If you have any questions about any of these, let me know in the comments below.